In cosmopolitan cities, ethnically based offenses are considered especially heinous. In Sydney University, 5 dedicated students who investigate these vicious felonies are members of an elite group known as Transculturals. These are their stories.
So how do you guys see yourselves as being transcultural?
I guess I would identify as transcultural because I don't feel like I actually fit any category. Basically, my background is Chinese Mauritian. Obviously, I look more Chinese, not so much now I have blue hair, but look more Chinese. So majority of people will assume like, oh, okay, you speak Mandarin or Cantonese. You're always Chinese, and I'm like, no, actually, I don't speak any of those. My family speaks French. Or also, you know, if people ask, oh, where are you from? I'll be like, I'm from Sydney. And then that answer doesn't really make sense. So they're like, oh, but where are you really from? And then I'd say Mauritius. And I'll be like, that answer still doesn't make sense. Because what they're really asking is like, why do you look Asian?
The question, where are you from, has potentially 2 aims: to find out something about the person and to establish a sympathetic link. The first discovery reveals what the person considers normal and hence how they will behave. And the second suggests what the person feels attached to and how you might find common ground with them. Julie's transcultural experience can be best described as that of a third culture person. That is, individuals who have a sense of relating to many cultures and reflect a combination of values and norms and social structures that contain part of all the cultures. With multiple allegiances and a combination of cultures influencing behavior, this makes "where are you from" a complicated question to answer.
Well, that's me with being black.
Yeah, people kind of ask me when I say that I'm from Brazil. They ask me this, like, they don't ask, but they look at me and say, "Oh, but you're blonde." They think I'm I don't know, Scandinavian or from Russia,
Yes.
you know. And when I say that I'm Brazilian, people look at me like, "Really?" I was like, "Yeah."
Wow. It's weird because like you told me, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
I believe you.
But you know, America is kind of the same. Like, it's quite mixed
Like
as well.
I can't assume you're lying or that you're making it up because it's like.
What would be the point of that?
In asking "where are you from," we are imagining a picture of the world which makes sense to us, and we expect a reply in the same vein. When answers or behaviors do not conform to cultural expectations, they may be met with negative reactions or rejection. For Raissa, this makes adapting to a new culture difficult, as her self-identity is not confirmed by those around her and brings a sense of a lack of belonging.
Something very awkward happened with us, my husband and I, last weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So there is this place, the psychiatry hospital, that are plenty of friendly kangaroos. So we went there to see them. And we were approaching the kangaroos, and there were 3 girls there. And one of them looked at us, and she, out of nothing, "Where are you from?" Out of nothing.
Yeah.
And I said, "I live here." And my husband's, "Why being so rude?" I said, but she just asked, "Where are you from?" out of nothing, not even hello or...
How old is she? Like a kid? Like a little kid?
No, they are probably late 20s or in
I thought it was a
30s.
child.
So awkward.
When asking "where are you from," in many circumstances, as shown by Mariana's experience, there can be an unequal power relationship between questioner and questioned, emphasizing difference in order to impose superior power relations. How the question is likely to be received will depend on the history of the person, their situation, and even their mood. To a newcomer in an immigrant society, it can be perceived as microaggression. "What are you doing in my country? I belong here. Where do you belong?" This microaggression prompted Mariana to respond defensively and closes off the opportunity for both Mariana and the questioner to make an intercultural connection.
That cultural weirdness stuff was happening even in the U.S. So like there's blackness in America and there's like Americanness, which is like, white Americanness. And there's like all these other Americas, and then like because we're not black enough to be black, we're like, you know what, we're black, but we're a different brand. And it's like this weird feeling. And then I moved to the UK. And it was fine, that's when I learned that there's nothing wrong with me for being a light-skinned black person, because my African friends from like Nigeria, Uganda, they were like, yeah, you're black. There's no questioning that. So then I realized it was just an American thing that I wasn't black enough to be black. And then I moved here. And then I'm reminded again that I'm not black enough to be black. But it's for different reasons. It's because I don't look like their kind of black person, and I don't look like the kind of black person that they're used to, so they don't really know how to talk to me, and I found it's easier for me to just wear a hat. But I get a lot of weird looks from the white Australians when I'm walking down the road. Like, even if it's like in a ponytail, like it was when we did our linguistic landscape, they're looking at me because they're trying to figure out what I am, but they're very bad at trying to figure out what I am. Just wear a hat. It makes things easier. I went to the hair salon and straightened my hair a lot when I first moved here, because then when it was straight, people wouldn't stare at me at all, because then I looked white, and then they left me alone.
Mm-hmm.
But if I look, because I think it's because I look white, but I'm not one of them. And like, when I was younger, my mom always told me, she's like, oh, you know, we may look like them, but at the end of the day, we're still not white. So, you know, if there's ever a color war, you're on the black side. That's what she told me.
I had an experience, and this is debatable. Basically, I was in Coles, and I was like in the fridge section looking for some hummus, and there was this Caucasian woman. I'm just like minding my own business, shopping for hummus, and she goes, "Hey, I want to make a stir fry. What tofu should I get?"
Did she think that you worked there? Is my first question.
I mean, I obviously
She
wasn't. She just thought, hey, there's
this
an
is
Asian
an Asian
woman.
person.
Let me ask her.
Okay.
And like me, I was having a little like identity crisis because I was like, oh my god, I don't make enough Asian food. What do I tell her? What kind of tofu? And I was like, I guess you probably want a firm tofu for a stir fry. She's like, oh, like this one? Yeah, that should be fine. She was like, oh, okay, thank you. And then just like left. And so I felt really, I was like, you know, was she justified in asking me that question?
No.
Yeah, because I was like,
Absolutely. Well, okay.
It's weird.
So she could just be asking any person next to her. The thing is, the question is, if you had been a white person, would she have asked
Exactly.
you?
Yes.
Then
That's
I don't
right.
know. It's hard to know what the answer is. She could have just been like, I need some advice on some tofu. I'm going to turn to this person. And not even...
Yeah.
But then, so the Caucasian guy that I was telling the story, and he was like, oh, well, what's the big deal? Like, if I was in a store and I was like, I don't know, buying pickles or something, and there was a Polish person next to me, I'd ask them what the best
Okay,
pickles
well,
are.
his answer is
And
right.
I was like, well, I don't know, I would say that's your business. Like, how about you just Google something and not assume that every cultural person was there to provide them with cultural information for you.
Yeah.
You can see from Bahja and Julie's stories, when immigrant groups are subjected to negative stereotyping and prejudicial attitudes, immigrants may rely on individual mobility by passing. As transcultural individuals, Bahja and Julie feel the need to either hide their transcultural identity and or perform the ethnic identity expected of them based on their appearance. This suggests an assimilation strategy conforming to the expectations of the dominant culture. Alternatively, they could engage in social creativity, seeking positive distinctiveness and celebrate their uniqueness. This strategy could promote integration, but only if people are open to having their expectations challenged. For example, meeting a Black person who may not look the way they expect, or meeting an Asian person who may not have in-depth knowledge of Asian culture.
Well, maybe that's the point. People don't know how they're supposed to culturally react. Like, to be like, what? Is obviously not the right reaction, but then maybe they need to learn what the proper way is to meet someone who's from a background that you didn't necessarily expect or understand. Like, there's different ways to navigate that besides acting like in disbelief.
I mean, I feel like it's tricky because on the one hand, it is like people are asking where you're from because they want to know. Like obviously they see someone and they're like, I don't know where you're from, so like tell me about it. Like I want to know. But then it's like, how do you do that in a way that's not weird?
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you do that in a way that doesn't like make the person feel targeted or like?
Yeah.
I don't know. If you approach with respect and curiosity, I think it's fine. You know. I don't find it a problem.
I think one time you said something. It was like timing. Like if it's the first question you ask someone, it's a bit like, oh, am I only the thing that I look like?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe get to know them a bit about, oh, what are your hobbies?
What's your name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be a good one.
How are you?
Timing can be a very key factor, and with care, it is possible to show that asking about someone's background is a respectful exploration of the newcomer's abilities and needs. This is an opportunity to begin a dialogue.
And it's just a chill way of doing it. Like, because I see other Americans and I get excited, I'm like, oh, I want to ask. But then there's like a way. You have to like wait. You go, hey, you know, okay, quick question. You guys from the U.S.? And then they're like, yeah! You know, there's a way way to do it,
Yeah.
but it's
That's
like,
true.
I'm friendly, I just want to check, you
Yeah.
know, hey, but like, if you just literally go, where are you guys from?
But it's hard to talk about these things nowadays because you have to
Yeah.
be careful all the time with, choose your words carefully.
Yeah.
People are just spontaneous as well, I think.
Yeah.
But I do think we should have,
I mean,
thought
like,
before.
I work in a cafe, and he has this way, like, anytime someone comes in and they have, like, Scandinavian, European kind of accent, he'll be like, oh, making the coffee, and then be like, oh, do you mind if I ask what your accent is?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, that's a
people are pretty
nicer
good
Yeah.
way
about
to
that.
probably approach it. Do
I
you
agree.
mind?
Yeah.
Because some people don't maybe want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
when I
But
was
that's, like, more
working on a
respectful.
farmer's market, the nicest way some people would approach in their curiosity was, what is this lovely accent from?
Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah,
That
that's
is
nice.
cute.
Yeah.
That's way better than where are you from?
We're learning that there are some ways that are better than others to approach people. When routine exchanges with unknown people are, as a rule, friendly rather than hostile, it tends to create a sense of place and belonging and an atmosphere of shared belonging. Rather than a one-way street of immigrants assimilating to the host culture, the process of acculturation involves mutual changes. Learning more about other people's backgrounds is a good way to find more things in common. It's just about how and when you ask.
Actually, one of my friends asked me, because I was telling her about the subject. So she was like, do you think it's better to just be in one culture and feel really secure in that and like really confident? Like, obviously, my heritage is this, my language is this. Like, you tick all the boxes. I'm 100% that culture.
Yeah.
Rather than me, where I'm like, I'm kind of a bit Chinese, a bit Mauritian, so I'm technically a bit French and also a bit African and a bit Indian because of that. But I'm also like Asian, but I'm also in Australia, and then just very confused and don't really fit in anywhere. And I actually think, obviously I'm not going to be like, I hate my life, I'd rather be like one kind of person. But I think it helps because then you have all these like frames of reference. Like if you meet anyone,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you can be like, oh hey, you were from Africa? I'm technically from Africa because of this and this and this and this. Or like, oh, you speak Spanish? Well, technically I speak French and that's kind of related to Spanish. And like, you can relate to so many people and you're like, I think it helps that you are used to dealing with that kind of complexity.
Julie's story shows us that interaction with culturally different individuals provides a foundation of experience that a communicator can rely on to manage culturally ambiguous situations. This is intercultural competence. In a society where culture is more dynamic, the ability to navigate this ever-changing landscape is regarded as a desirable skill.
I like being around, a diverse group, a transcultural setting. I feel more at ease because it's like there's like obviously everyone's got their own biases and their own prejudices. We all have them, whether you're aware of them consciously or not. But it's like you're not like you can't be a dick when everyone around you is like different. Like there's safety. Like I feel more secure knowing that I'm not the only.
There's comfort in the diversity.
Yeah. Because then it's like, okay, it's a color. Like when
Not the only one different.
Yeah, and like you don't feel ostracized, and you may be different than everyone else, and they may ask you the same questions, but I don't get as offended as if I'm in like a completely homogenized city.
You're like on the hot seat of
Yeah. And because then they're all like it's like when you're the girlfriend meeting the boy's family at dinner and he's got a large family and they're all like, so how'd you meet John? And it's like, oh no.
On top of intercultural competence, if the person demonstrates they have cultural experiences in common, the interaction is even better received. As Bahja described, there is comfort in the knowledge that those around you have an empathetic understanding of your experiences.
So what has your experience with different cultures taught you maybe about yourself and others that you would like people to know?
After dealing with so many different cultures growing up and just being around like an assorted rainbow of different types of people, I've learned two things. One, there are rude people, nice people, good and bad in all groups. So you should just look at the person. Like I don't see color anymore. I just see person. Like
This is
yes.
the fact.
Like I don't care where you're from. I ask what country you may be from because if you say you're not from the country I'm currently in, cool.
It's interesting.
Yeah. What food? Like I'm
curious. Oh, can I visit you? Like, I want to go. Like, let's have some fun. I don't care.
Okay, so for me, I was born in Ireland and then I moved to Rio when I lived half of my life there, and it's a really mixed city, like lots of different cultures, backgrounds, skin colors, and the way accents, like not accents, dialects, because people from all over the country goes to Rio and São Paulo to find like opportunities, this kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And I really like this. I really love this to have the opportunity of being in touch with people that are different from you, because I learn a lot from them. And I guess it can be challenging, again, because you sometimes you face situations that you don't expect, you're not expecting. It's new for you, so you have to like kind of think, okay, how do I react? But at the same time, I think it's so nice because you learn a lot. At the end, it's just people, you know what I mean? People with different, people that thinks different and looks different. So I love this, the diverse,
This plurality is what makes Brazil so beautiful, actually. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's why I decided to come to Australia, because I was really thirsty for more cultural diversity than I was used with. I love when I walk in the street and I see people with their traditional dresses, and also when we see all this blended in a new form. This is fascinating.
I agree. I love culture.
Our group all agrees that plural ideologies are inclusive and envision diverse groups as contributors to a national mosaic. In the end, each is indispensable in defining the community.
But instead, when everybody is culturally diverse, it just opens like interesting, cool conversations. You get to learn more about the world, about our languages, our cultures, our practices, and then hopefully find common ground and build friendships and everything off of that.
More ways to get diabetes because all the food.